Happy Friday, Semi-Retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, miscellaneous odds and ends, and of course I'm inviting you along as I continue my preparations for moving down to Texas and starting my off-grid homestead, which, if all goes well, I'm leaving here on Wednesday morning. Might get out of here Tuesday night. We'll just have to see how that goes. But welcome everybody. I certainly hope you've had a great day. You're having a great week. As you can see, I still don't have the green screen set up. Well, I've got the screen, I just don't have the backgrounds in place on this new broadcasting software yet, but we'll see. I've put all that stuff on hold because I've been in full press mode getting stuff loaded yesterday and today because it's sunny out, it's nice, it's about 50 degrees, but tomorrow afternoon it's supposed to start raining and then not stop raining until sometime on Tuesday morning. So we'll see. There's still a lot of stuff I can get loaded because the trailer's backed up close to the garage. I can take stuff out through the garage and into the back of the trailer. I'm finishing up the truck stuff right now. I've got a new Bob cam coming in the mail tomorrow that I really didn't want to spend any money on right now, but the Bob cam is just, it still works. I just can't get any files off of it because it's stuck in automatic record mode, so that when I turn it on, it starts recording. Instead of, even when it's plugged in, when you turn it on, it's supposed to give me a menu option to log it into the computer so I can transfer files off of it, but it's not doing that right now. So I've got a cheap little action cam coming that it was listed at $49.99, but there was a $10 coupon, so it was $39 plus tax, so it was just a little over $40. Am I expecting great things out of this camera? No, but if I get a couple of recordings out of it, I'll feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of it, because what I really want is the newer version of the DJI action camera, but those are a lot more expensive, so it's going to have to wait a little while. But let's get into the comments here. And by the way, if you can hear me, be sure and let me know. It looks like Paul has made it. Tall Cedars. Hi Bob, it's my aunt's 104th birthday. She was a raw milk drinker who switched to store-bought until she turned 96. She had to quit because her psoriasis became bad. Now it's healing. Raw milk. Yes, hello to you, Tall Cedars. Tell your aunt I said happy 104th birthday. There aren't a lot of people that get to be that age anymore. It used to be much more common. As I've told you before, my grandmother and her sister, my grandmother and who was my great aunt, they both lived into their low hundreds. And she was very independent. She walked down to the grocery store every day to get what they were going to have for dinner that night, just to get her exercise in and walk down the street to the little market. Right up until I think she was 102 and she finally stopped walking down to the market. But I won't swear to that. But hello to you, Tall Cedars. I'm glad you're here. And yep, Paul did make it. Craig is here. I'm here for Shipping Container Bob. Well, you've come to the right place. And let's see here. He also said, first thumbs up. Yeah, don't forget, hit that thumbs up. Share this out if you want, but you don't have to. Be sure and hit that thumbs up there. I'm glad you're here, Craig. Thanks for stopping by. Rick, Charger Mopar has arrived. Thanks for getting here, Rick. Yep, it's still hot and humid because, you know, you're in Miami where it's always hot and humid. And Craig's favorite color, green. I'm waiting for the vacuum pump to see if my mini split installation is ready to go. That'll be good. Yeah, mini splits are the way of the future. I hope to have one at some point down in Texas, but that's a ways off. Bonjour, Bob. All packed up. I'm not all packed up, but I'm. I have just started on gathering up my clothing. So the next, 4 or 5 days, I'll be limited to how much clothing I have here in the house because I'm going to get most of it out into the trailer. I still have some small items to put under the bed. And then, of course, packing up my kitchen and taking what I need for my kitchen with me, as well as the last minute things like I'm going to have my 1000 watt power station in the front seat with me to, number one, keep my phone charged all the way down, and if I need to hook up the Starlink en route while I'm traveling, I can do that because the Starlink will be up front in the truck with me. And I still, of course, have to pack up all my computer gear. And that will be the very last thing I tear down and get packed up. So I said, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to hopefully not be too many days in transit without my computer set up. But if that does happen, I'll still be able to put some shorts out with my phone. But it's getting much, much closer. I'm planning on hopefully leaving out of here Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. We'll see how it goes. Because overnight Wednesday night, it's not supposed to snow, but they are calling for rain Wednesday night and a temperature of 33. So if they miss by just a little bit, it could snow here Wednesday night, and I have no desire to be here for snow. No, I won't be changing it to Texas Puke Orange, nor will I be changing it to Oklahoma Sooner Choke Red. But that is one thing I wanted to say. The odds of there being a live stream next Friday aren't that good. We'll see how quickly I get things set up once I get down there, because I plan the tracker on the route that I've set up. It says 16 and a half hours, but hang on a second. What is that? Cancel spotlight. Okay, well, I don't know. The EV Mux is doing something. Let me know if you can still hear me. But depending on how quickly I get things set up, my plan is to hopefully be set up enough to do some kind of live stream next Friday. But if not, you'll probably see a short that comes out Friday morning that says there's not going to be a live stream. So we'll see. There will either not be a live stream next week, or I'll be live with my first live stream from my property in Texas. We'll just have to see how that all goes. Patricia is here. Hello, Patricia. I'm glad you made it. And Pop Eater, $2 super chat. Thank you very, very much. See here, Pear character turning around, waving his hand, saying, "Hey you," while lowering his glasses. Well, thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the $2. That will come in handy. I'll put that towards my new camera that I'm going to have to get at some point. And Bart Simpson, I like to eat one day and no eating next, repeat. I put on weight if I don't do this on the keto diet. And there are a lot of people that I have heard, I don't, but I've heard a lot of people have gotten really good results with alternate day fasting, and once your body's used to it, I've heard, like I said, people have very good results with that. It all depends on what you're used to and what your body adjusts to. As Rick, the Charger Mopar, will let us know, he eats 3 meals a day, but he is a different type of animal. He's been carnivore since he was 15 years old, so I think he passed his 41-year mark last month. So Rick's been doing this for a while, and once your body is adapted to it, I'm sure you can get away with eating 3 meals a day. Because I've always been a big eater, I do best with 1 big meal a day, or one big meal a day and then a much smaller meal to get me through if I'm having a high energy day. I think tomorrow I'm actually going to start cooking because I have a whole big box of burgers plus a half of one. So I've got about 50 burger patties to get cooked up and put into Ziploc baggies for the trip down plus the first few days, because I have to get some things set up, like my garage, so that I can unload everything. And then I'm hoping very early in that process I'll be able to get my little kitchen area set up. Because it'll be inconvenient if I have to set up my grill on the tailgate of the pickup. But it may come to that. We'll see how it goes when we go down there. But I'm glad you found a way of eating that works for you, Bart. That's really what this is all about. You know, as human beings, we are primarily meat-based. But if a little bit of veg, you know, whether you're lion diet, carnivore, keto, or basic low carb, everybody falls somewhere into that proper human diet spectrum. And that's what our N=1 experiments are for, so that we can find what works best for us. And Rick says, my old air conditioner fell apart from rust, but I built this one out of the takeouts. Okay. And Jiffy, hello Bob, wishing you safe travels. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody cross their fingers that my truck actually makes it to Texas. It should. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, but it is a 23-year-old truck with 220,000 miles on it, so you never know what could happen. You've talked about how you're going to cook your hamburgers, but how are you going to cook your eggs while you're in Texas? Well, I'm taking my cast iron skillet with me. And I have a propane grill. It's basically a camp stove. And I'll set my skillet on that. I'm not planning on eating as many eggs when I get to Texas because, one, I don't have a bunch of storage for eggs, and cleaning the pan and cleaning the utensils is a much bigger problem when you don't have a big water supply. So I am still planning on scrambling eggs. I'm going to take my cast iron skillet with me. I'm going to take my camp stove, and one of the solutions I found, I'll be taking paper towels with me, because I'll be able to, when I use the pan, I'm planning on just spraying it out with a vinegar water and then wiping it out with a paper towel, and that should be good enough for 3-4 days in a row. And then I'll have to get I do have a little collapsible sink that I can fill up with water. I'm planning on just setting it out in the sun, letting the sun heat it up. If I have to, I'll put a skillet full of water on that burner and let it go to get hot, and add that to the sink, and then actually wash my utensils with a little bit of soap. And I'll show all that stuff when I get down. I've been saving a lot of that as videos to make while I'm in Texas. Like I have my little portable washing machine that is basically just a bag with nubs in it. You put a few articles of clothing in it, dump a little water into it, and a little bit of soap. I did find, I forget the name of it, but it's a eco-friendly soap stuff that's concentrated. So just a little half a cap full of soap in with a few articles of clothing. You seal the bag up, and you shake the bag. And the little nubs inside the bag agitate the clothes. And then you dump it out. You fill it up with clean water, and you shake it to rinse the clothes. Then you dump them out, you squeeze them out, and you hang them on a clothesline to dry. And that's how I'm going to do smaller loads. I'll be doing my socks and my underwear and my t-shirts like that. And then as I run out of pants, jeans and heavier pants, I will probably once every 2 or 3 weeks, load those up in the truck, take them to the laundromat in town and do those that way, because I'm not sure. We'll have to see. I will experiment with a single pair of jeans in the bag to see if the bag is big enough and sturdy enough to knock the topsoil off of the jeans, because it's not like I'm going to be around people. I'm going to be out in the middle of the desert working. As long as everything I'm wearing doesn't stink so bad that it offends me, I should be okay. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But that's how I'm planning on cooking my eggs, Patricia. Hello, Wendy. I'm glad you made it. Thanks for stopping by. Nova Scotia. I bet it's probably snowing up there already, or at least much colder there than it even is here. Rick says, I eat 3 times a day, cannot gain weight ever. Yep. And I tried to eat one big meal. I would be so full I'd have to sleep for hours afterwards. Yes, I understand that. Well, welcome. I'm glad you made it to the live. Thanks for being here. And yes, we are all glad you're here. Talking to Rick. Let's see here. I have to work during the day. He said that's the beauty of it. Naps are wonderful for old folks like me. Yeah. And Rick is about as old as we are, but he does still work pretty much all day, every day. I know my truck would never make it out of Florida. I understand. Was wondering why you needed a vac pump, then I saw the comments about the true DIY nature of your setup. And let's see here. Well, it goes with the air conditioning service, and I'm trying to figure out where I can find replacement pattern 105 lap siding. I don't know what that means, but I hope you find it. And let's see here. Bob, glad to hear you will be voting for Trump on Tuesday. We need that one electoral vote from Liberal Central Omaha. Yeah, well, the presidential candidate here in Nebraska always goes to the Republican candidate. That brings up something I want to talk about. I'm not going to tell you to vote for Trump or vote for Kamala or whoever. I just want everybody watching this to get out and vote on Tuesday. You need to vote. Make your voice heard. Get out there and vote. The one thing I have noticed this election cycle, I don't know if it's happening in a lot of places, but one of the things they're trying to do here in Nebraska is we have a long-standing senator who they are now challenging with a independent. He's not really an independent. He was the other party up until about 4 years ago. And now they're trying to portray these people as independents in an attempt to swing votes away from the other party. So just be aware of who is running in your area, whether it be for local offices or state offices, whatever. Do your research. Like I said, I'm not telling you who to vote for. Just know who you're voting for. Look up Mr. Cool and other brands like that. Yeah, there's some really good ones out there, but Rick doesn't like to spend money on anybody. And you voted already. Good for you. I have a sign that says duck crossing. Let's see here. Midnight Madness says, sorry if I missed it, but when do you think you'll go to Texas? I'm planning on leaving either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. We'll see how it goes. As long as all the loading continues at the rate it's going, it will be Tuesday or Wednesday coming up. I may have to push it back 1 week, but if I push it back 1 week, I risk running into snow, and I don't want to do that, so probably Wednesday morning. Yeah, oh, what I started to say, the route I have picked out, my GPS says it'll take about 16 and a half hours to get down to my property in Texas. But because I tend to drive slower than what most people do, and I have a fully loaded truck and a trailer, I expect it to take, depending on stops and everything, anywhere from 16 to 20 hours. It could take as much as 26 hours if I get tired and I pull off the side of the road and take a little nap in the cab of my truck. We'll see how that goes. And I've had to rearrange. One of the things that didn't come out, you'll see in tomorrow's video, it ended up being a walking and talking video. I had a bunch of footage that I recorded of me loading that I can't get off the bob cam because it's messed up. But I noticed as I was starting to load things in my truck, there was a lot of wet stuff in the back of my truck. What I didn't notice is when the tree came crashing down on it, it bent the support beam inside the shell, and that support beam pulled away from the thin aluminum of the shell itself, and it was riveted in like 3 spots, so there's a dent with 3 rivet holes in it, so that every time it rains here, it doesn't just drip a little bit. The rain collects in the big dent on the top of my camper, and all that water drains into my my truck bed. So I pulled some stuff out and I've dried it out, and it's going to have to be loaded into the trailer, and I just have to reevaluate and make sure nothing that can be damaged by water is loaded in the truck. So that's one of the things that's been slowing me down just a little bit, as I adjust what I can load where. Vote for the cat or dog turd. Okay. I voted last Friday, even though it makes 0 difference in my state. Well, you never know. And maybe one of those local offices will help out. Rick, I have a duck crossing sign too. And Keto Carney Cajun says, going to keep up with the almost daily walks, or can we expect more of your labors? A little bit of both. My plan for down in Texas is to walk around the property a couple times a day, talk to you about whatever subject I'm going to talk about, and then insert footage of the work I've gotten done that day. Because it's very hard to talk while you're working a shovel or a pickaxe. But we'll see how that goes. My plan for the members only section, there aren't very many members. I think I've got like 8 or 9. It's not a big deal, but I appreciate all of those who... oh, I forgot to turn on the banner here. Hang on just a second. Yeah, there you go. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. There you go. You've all seen that. We'll put that one up. Now we'll go back to the comments. But yeah, for the members only section of my channel, I plan on taking the footage, all of just the raw footage, because I plan on just setting up a camera and letting it run while I work. I will probably post that footage raw and uncut, just post it out to the members section if anybody wants to watch it. And then in my daily or mostly daily videos, I'll be putting sections of the work in while I'm walking and talking. I have a lot of new places to walk down there, around my property, across my property, down to the county road, down the county road towards I-10. You can see the mountain. Well, you can't see it right now because my background's not up, but there's mountains a good distance away from me. I hope to make those a good backdrop to what I'm recording down there. I don't know what we're going to find when we get down there other than my chunk of land, and we'll see where it goes from there. But yes, I am still planning on doing daily walks on top of working, depending on how hard of work I do each day. I'm sure I'll probably end up having to skip a few days of walking. And that's why getting my studio set up in the trailer or inside the garage, once I get that set up, is going to be pretty important, because I'm going to probably have to do some sit down and talk videos, because I'm going to be too tired to go walking. We'll just have, like I said, we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. Rick says, no matter which pre-selected candidate, the Fed is going to create more inflation and we lose. Probably so. Hi Bob, I've been dealing with dehydration for a few weeks. My lisinopril combined with water shedding due to carnivore. Today I picked up some electrolytes. Yes. Even if you just use salt, I use Redmond's real salt because it has some minerals in it as well. You know, you certainly don't want to make it so that you're drinking seawater, but adding extra salt to your food, drinking 1 dose of electrolytes a day, whether it be, you know, the salty or the cheap stuff they sell at Walmart or whatever. Just be careful of the cheap stuff, because sometimes they use the cheaper magnesium, and you'll find that using those electrolytes will make you go to the bathroom even more than the Carnivore Cleanse does. So be aware of that. Oh, before we go any further, I do want to say thank you to Zach. Zach sent in something off of my Amazon wish list that got here a couple of days ago. It's some basically it's some ropes with ratchet anchor ties, and I'm going to use those to secure the trailer in place to the screw anchors that I showed you 3-4 live streams ago, to help stabilize the trailer as well as hold the garage down on windy days. So thank you, Zach. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Yes, it's probably a gong show, but I believe we're winning, guys, because RFK Jr. and several others are out there starting to question our food system. Now, whether or not they can actually have any impact, considering the money we're up against, who knows? But I believe the message is starting to get out there that, you know, there is a problem in the Western world with the food supply. You know, why is it that food with no chemicals in it costs so much more than food with chemicals in it? Interesting thought. Okay, now let's get back to the comments here. Let's see here. Curb splitter, I dropped mine out about 2 months after starting Carnivore. Yeah, and I still use some electrolytes here and there, but I've found that Redmond's real salt with beef does pretty well. I do still, a couple of times a week, put a couple drops of iodine in my morning coffee, and like I said, a couple times a week I use electrolytes, and I still have the Keto Chow Daily Minerals that I don't take daily because their dose is quite a bit more than I think I need. I put just a little tiny bit of that in my coffee in the morning as well. Because the minerals that we need are not in our food the way they used to be. Here, the national debt has to grow exponentially or this whole clown show burns down. Yeah. And Rafe is here. Hello, Rafe. I'm just joining in, but hopefully you can work with your insurance company to get your camper repaired. No, I just have liability on my truck. There's no insurance that's going to cover my topper for that. Even if I had full coverage on the truck, technically the topper is not part of the truck. And it's just not that important. I'm leaving it on now in its damaged state just so I don't have to tie everything down in the back of my truck for the trip to Texas, because it will keep the wind from blowing through and blowing stuff out. One of the first things I'm going to do when I get down to Texas after I get the truck unloaded is I'm going to take that topper off of there and scrap it. Probably just cut it up and leave it in a pile. I may not cut it up because I may be able to reuse the aluminum for something else. But my main plan is once I get down to Texas, I'm going to take the topper off my truck because I hope to find an IBC tote, which is one of those big 300-gallon water tanks that comes inside a cage. I hope to mount one of those in the back of my truck and one of those on the ground next to my trailer, so that when I need water, I can haul the IBC tote to town, fill it up with 300 gallons of water, bring it back out, and I don't want to be able to, I don't want to have to haul 300 gallons of water around everywhere I go, but I'll then be able to pump the water out of the IBC tote in the back of my truck into the other tank and have some water storage that way until I start getting things built. And once the IBC tote in the back of my truck is empty, it will be light enough to pick up and set out on the ground if I need to haul lumber or pallets or whatever else. I'm hoping to find a source down there where I can get some pallets for either free or cheap to start some of my first building projects with just using pallet wood. Tall Cedar says, it will grow. It's debt for the land that pays off our debts. Bacon and eggs on eating days. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with bacon and eggs. I early voted, was expecting a credit card, free food, and housing, but I got a sticker. I understand. If you go to Keto Chow's website, one of the reasons why I got a Keto Chow discount code, there's a link down in the description. My discount code is Semiretiredbob. But Keto Chow, they're technically a separate company now, but it's under the umbrella of Keto Chow. It's called Salty, S-A-L-T-T. And Chris Bear just did an interview talking about their version of electrolytes versus LMNT after that big scandal from LMNT broke. And Chris assures us that everything that's in his stuff is listed on the ingredients. And I'm not so sure, the salty stuff that comes in the packets is a little on the expensive side. They still sell bottles of electrolyte drops. It's basically just a clear liquid. You drop 4 or 5 or 6 drops of it into a bottle of water and you're good to go. And I haven't looked in a while because I still have quite a few bottles of it upstairs, but their electrolyte drops used to be able to get it in a 32-ounce bottle, so it would last quite a while. They had the electrolyte drops in a big bottle, and they have daily minerals in a big bottle, and that's really why I got associated with Keto Chow to begin with, is so that you guys could get a discount code on their electrolyte products. It's since then been rebranded under Salty, but it's all still the same stuff. The Daily Minerals formula was designed with the help of Dr. Berry. It still has Dr. Berry's picture on it because Chris sat down with Dr. Berry and they decided together what all needed to be in a Daily Minerals formula. So you can check those out, but Really, one of the other things I saw, if you get yourself some uh, Redmond's real salt and use about 8 parts of that to 1 part Epsom salt, which will have some potassium in it, and you can mix it all right into your salt shaker and just use that on your food. And that's an even cheaper way to go about getting your electrolytes. Just regular mineral salt with a little bit of Epsom salt for the potassium in it. Or you could even buy, if you like to buy stuff that's kind of branded for food use, you can get the salt substitute that's potassium chloride for the so-called no-salt diets that we know are absolutely terrible for us. But the fake salt stuff out there is potassium chloride, and you could mix a little bit of that in with your regular mineral salt, and that would give you a little bit of a potassium mix, and then you don't have to spend big money on any of the places that sell it as electrolytes. Those are my suggestions on that. Hopes that answers your question. My internet going to go down. See y'all later. Well, have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. I'm excited to get down there too. You know, it's exciting, and it's a little on the nerve-wracking side as well. You know, I have a nice, safe house here in Omaha where I can sit inside and be comfortable, but I've always wanted to live off-grid. I like the desert. I don't like Omaha winters, but of course I'm not wealthy enough to afford, you know, a nice place in some place like Arizona or Texas or Florida to where I can split time back and forth. I have to go to West Texas and build it myself. And again, because I would like to eventually have animals, I am planning on moving down there full time. Hopefully sometime in the next 2 to 4 years. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. Make your own. Yep. That's exactly what we were talking about there, Granny. Just make your own. Like I said, if you want to as well, if you dig into Keto Chow's website, you'll find that they have on one of their pages all of the ingredients for everything they use. So if you're concerned about mixes for something like their electrolyte drops, you can go out onto their website, find what they're using, what ingredients they're using, and then just buy the raw ingredients yourself and mix it together. Pretty simple. Yeah, and there is something to be said for the convenience of, rather than buying all the ingredients and mixing it up yourself, to just order it from somebody. You just have to kind of play those balances for what works for you and what doesn't. Tired of nonstop muscle cramps. Yeah, magnesium. Magnesium seems to be the main thing that stops muscle cramps, but it could also be potassium. They do sell on the Keto Chow website under the Salty brand. They do have little, like 1 or 2 ounce size travel bottles, and you could order just one of those to try it and see how that goes. And if it's something that works for you to get rid of the cramps, you can then either look up the recipe and make it yourself or order the bigger bottles. But they make little, like, I think they're 1 ounce or 2 ounce. They're just little travel bottles. If I'd known we were going to talk about this today, I would have brought one of my travel bottles down from upstairs. But that's something to look into. Bob's going to be busy working, doing work I would not do. Oh, yes you would, Rick. You know you would. You're not afraid of anything. Yeah. Potassium or magnesium, like I said, if you need something today, it's easy enough to check potassium. Just run down to your local store and buy a small thing of Epsom salt and put just a pinch of that on your food. You don't want to use very much of it, but just a little pinch of it to up your potassium just a little bit. See if that helps. And if no cramps, problem solved. If you still have cramps, move on to the magnesium. And again, I don't remember what the different kinds of magnesium are, but if you look up on YouTube, Dr. Barry Magnesium, he has a video where he goes down all the list of the one that is good and the types that are more designed to make you go poo than to up your potassium, up your magnesium levels. And that's just, you want to make sure you're getting the good quality of magnesium. Yes, we're also, you know what else is unique about Nebraska? I believe we are the only state that has a unicameral legislature, which means we don't have a House and a Senate. We have the legislature. It's one body, one house. And because it's supposed to be non-partisan, non-party affiliated, people that are running for the legislature, this is one of the states where you actually have to know who you're voting for, because they do not put Republican or Democrat or Independent or Green Party or any of that other stuff. They do not put party affiliations on the ballots in Nebraska. You have to know who you're voting for. Thank you all for the info. I will look into all of this for your ideas. Yes, absolutely. That's why we're here. And anytime you have questions, if you put a question underneath one of my videos, you'll find that I have quite a few people that glance through my comments on my videos, and if there's a question there, you'll find that they jump right in and provide some answers for you. I have a very helpful community, and that's really what this is for. You know, there are a few topics that I always have outlined that I could talk about on Friday's live stream, but normally we just kind of sit here and chat for the hour. Your question made a lot of conversation today, and that's really good, and that's why we're here and why I offer it for free. If you need more expert advice, of course, the one thing I always recommend to people, if you really want to sit down with experts, for $5, just this is not an ad. I don't get paid anything by Dr. Barry, but I am part of his private group, and for $5 a month, you can be part of his private group where you get access to sending him private messages. Plus, you can post your questions in the open forums, and he has 6 or 7 very knowledgeable moderators that can answer your questions. And you don't get to be a moderator on Dr. Barry's channel unless he grills you extensively about your knowledge on things. So for $5 a month, even if you just do it for 1 month, get your questions answered, and then jump back out again, I believe it's $5 very well spent. Rather than spending, there are some people out there that have groups, I'm not going to mention any names, but I mean, there are people charging $20, $40, $50, even $100 a month to be part of their private group. That seems a little excessive, especially since most of the people that run those types of groups, they're very popular on YouTube, but they don't really have the experience or the knowledge to help you. I make no bones about it. I don't have the qualifications to actually give advice on any of that stuff. And some of the people that started offering counseling and private sessions, I think they're setting themselves up for some big trouble, because you need to have qualifications to give people actual medical advice. And I don't have any of those qualifications. I just like to tell you what works for me, and I tell you what I have heard from other people. That's what this is all about. Rick says, nobody in this area sells 105 lap siding anymore. I don't know what 105 lap siding is, but I hope you find what you need, Rick. Crazy how natural food grown is more expensive. We all need to learn to grow veggies and trade. I grow carrots well and would trade for beets. Yeah. And I am planning on raising some vegetables eventually down there, but I'm not going to be raising the vegetables for me. I'm going to be raising vegetables because chickens and pigs and goats like vegetables. Where do you find those containers for water, Bob? Well, they're all over. The cheapest ones, you have to take them to a car wash and wash them out really good, because they've had chemicals in them. Those that have always been used for food grade are more expensive, but not terribly more expensive, but you still have to take them to the car wash and spray them out really good on the inside, because you don't want your water to taste like the dish soap or the honey that was in those containers. I mean, those big IBC containers are used for transporting lots of different liquids, and you'll always find them non-food grade quality for 25 or 30 bucks on Facebook Marketplace. And even if it says food grade on it and it's only had food grade stuff, you're still going to want to make sure you take it to a car wash, one of the spray out ones. Take the top off of it, open the bottom up, spray it out really good. Even if it takes you 15 or 20 bucks more at the car wash, you want to make sure you get it sprayed out really good. And then, of course, the water I use out of that will be run through my water filter system that I have as well, on top of all of that. So, and if you don't mind spending the money, you can order brand new ones from places, but those are a few $100s each. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to rush to get those. I'll have to wait till I find the ones I want at the right price, because as you'll see in a video coming up, I just got 4 5.3 gallon collapsible totes that are designed for holding water. And I know that's only 20 gallons, but that's 10 days worth of drinking water at a time. So to start with, I can just carry those to town, fill them up someplace, and take them home and have 10 days worth of water just in that, for drinking water. So we shall see. Yeah, and Craigslist also has that kind of stuff. Pallet wood too thin to be useful and too many nails. Not necessarily. And it depends on what you're using it for. What I plan on using it for is to build a couple of, and in fact whole pallets will be the walls. You know, I need to make a little separated area to start a compost pile in. Pallet wood is plenty good for that. And until I build something nicer, pallet wood is plenty good to build a little table to set my kitchen up on. Pallet wood is plenty good to use for shelving in the garage. There are lots of things I can do with pallet wood before I rush right out to the lumber store and spend a lot of money on real wood. I plan on practicing on pallet wood as much as I can, because, you know, I have all the tools. Give me just a second here. I have all the tools, but I've never actually built anything. So the practice of taking pallets apart, sawing them down to size, figuring out how to put stuff together, be really good practice and something I need to do a lot of before I go spend $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 on wood to build my roof with. I want to build several smaller structures out of pallet wood to get practice using the circular saws and the drills and all of that kind of stuff before I, start playing with expensive real wood. What's the cost for 300 gallons of water? It depends on where you get it. There is a water place in town where it'll cost me, I think it's about $4, because it's like 20 cents a gallon or so. I don't know. I haven't actually figured it out. But regardless of what it is, and then there are places where if you're not using a 300 gallon IBC tote, but you take 4 or 5 gallon drums with you to the truck stop down the road, they have water available on their diesel islands, and you just pull up. And I don't know that I'd stand out there and fill up 20 gallons of water, but standing out there and filling up one of your 5-gallon collapsible jerry cans is something to do. And the truck stop, the Love's truck stop, it's 6.5 miles down to I-10. It's 10 miles to the west to get into Van Horn, or one exit back to the east from me is a Love's truck stop. So at very worst, that's where I'll go to get water, is at the Love's truck stop. And even if I have to go inside and buy a gallon of water while I fill up my 5-gallon thing out at their diesel islands, that's okay. We'll just see how it goes. I don't know a lot of the costs on stuff because I haven't been there yet. I haven't actually seen them in person, but I have a lot of plans and names of places that I can check out. And if push comes to shove, I can go to the local grocery store and you can buy gallons of water from the grocery store for about $1.33. Okay. Thanks, Addicted to Antlers. Yep. Addicted to Antlers is one of those people that's very good. Yeah, she has 3 of those 300-gallon containers. And they're, like I said, it's a great way to store water. And you just have to, they make covers for them, but just spraying them down with black paint to keep the sunlight from growing algae inside of them makes it really easy. Let's see what we got here. Throw some salt and some no salt on your food and swallow a magnesium pill for electrolytes. Yep. Thank you, Bart. I will get some of that no salt product I used to stock shelves. Yeah, the no salt stuff works really, really well. Looks like I'm a little behind in the comments here. Let's see here. Hand digging is not my thing, but I do, yeah. I get it. You're not big on hand digging, but I got nothing else to do. Like I said, if I can find somebody with a piece of heavy equipment close, I'm going to get them to come out and do some work, but I'm not going to spend a lot of money because all I really have to do with my winter from the time I get down there to the time I come home is to do work. And I'm not kidding myself. I'm not going to start out working a pickaxe and a shovel 8, 9, 10 hours a day. I will probably end up doing about an hour and a half's worth of work a day, split up into 2 or 3 times, and the rest of the time I'll be doing other stuff. Because I know full well I'm not going to be able to just stand out there with a shovel for 8 hours at a time to start off with. Isn't the rainy season coming up? We're going to watch the old Sun Bowl out of El Paso and remember a few snowy games. No, the primary rain that I get in my desert happens, the rainy season is pretty much over. It runs from about the end of July through the middle of September. There are the occasional storms coming in off the Pacific that make it that far in, but not many. And I don't know about El Paso. I can tell you that according to the National Weather Service's website, now this is for Van Horn, which is 16 miles away, and they are about 1,000 feet lower than my property is. So it may get colder, and I may get a little more snow than anticipated at my property. But in Van Horn, they average 2 measurable snowfalls every 5 years. And by measurable snowfalls, they're talking about a half an inch or less. It doesn't get that cold there, and it doesn't snow very often. Can it snow where I'm at? Absolutely, but I don't expect that to be a problem. If it snows, that'd be great, because snow melting into the ground lasts a lot longer than just a quick rainstorm. No water containers where we are, they are too far away. Ah well, to the store to buy new. Yep, I understand. Yep. I understand. You don't need the advice and the help, Rick. You've been doing this for 41 years. For people that are just learning about it, or they have specific health questions, where else can you get a doctor's ear and advice for $5? Not just any doctor, but one who understands the carnivore, ketovore, low-carb space. Yeah, well, we all know you're beyond help anyway, Rick. I'll give you free advice. If you want to gain weight, eat duck food. Yep. Okay, this is a pretty good size. Let's see here. Beef, butter, bacon, and eggs saved my life. Lost 150 pounds. Reversed type 2 diabetes. A1C is now 5.4. Restored my eyesight. No longer sleep apnea. 63-year-old male. Too mad. No fruit, no veggies. No snacking, no carbs, no sweets. Congratulations, Jammer. And we've got about 2 minutes left, so let me scroll through these comments real quick. Oh, Buck got here. Ooh, wow, haven't caught your videos lately. Looking really well, Bob. Thanks, Buck. I'm glad you're here. Craig is talking to Antlers. Oh, I think I made it to the bottom of the comments just before we ran out of time. If you're watching this after the fact and you weren't able to get your questions answered today or your comments in, my email address is semiretiredbob@yahoo.com. Be sure and send me an email there. And Bert is here saying, hi, Bob. Have a safe trip to Texas. Yes, that's coming up on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, if everything goes well. It's still maybe a week out yet, but I'm planning on leaving. Right now, I'm planning on leaving on Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, sometime in there. But yeah, if you have any questions, because you're watching this after the fact, Semiretiredbob, yahoo.com. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day.